The New York Jets fall to 0-3 to start off the 2025 NFL season as they were defeated by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers by a score of 29-27, and yet again a game that is decided by a field goal. We'll get into it, but before we do, welcome back everybody to the Turn Up the Jets YouTube channel. As always, Joe Scardo, your host. Please subscribe to the channel if you've not already. Like the video if you've actually liked it, and you could also follow me on social media platforms such as on X and on Instagram. So here we go again. The Jets are 0-3 in another season that's trending to be a long one, in another season that's trending to be that we are seeing mock drafts in October. However, they do have some winnable games coming up before the bye week. I don't believe they play a single team that is over 500 as of right now. It's still very early, but you go play the Miami Dolphins on Monday Night Football this week, the struggling Dallas Cowboys who are 1-2 the following, and then you go to London and play the Denver Broncos who are also 1-2, but they've also lost 2 games that have been decided by a game-winning field goal. But let's get into this game. The Buccaneers defeat the Jets 29-27 in really a game that it looked like the Jets had zero right to even win or be in it. It was 23-6 with 11 minutes left. Tyrod Taylor kind of figures it out during the end, throws a touchdown pass to Garrett Wilson, follows it up with another one to Allen Lazard on 4th down, and then it looked like McLaughlin was going to have a game-winning field goal. The Jets block it, and just an all-world play by Will McDonald, leaps over the center, clearly blocks it, runs it for a touchdown with just about a minute left, and Baker Mayfield once again was Baker Mayfield, his 3rd consecutive game-winning drive to start the year for the Bucs, who are now 3-0. So sometimes it comes down to that. But let's dive into the box score, and then I'll kind of give my opinions. Of course, there's a lot to talk about. So team stats, it was very close. First downs 21-19 in favor of the Jets. Total plays 64-63 in favor of the Buccaneers. Here's where the yards, almost exactly actually 80 yards more of total yards of offense for the Buccaneers, 347-267. They each had 11 drives. Buccaneers averaged 4.4 a clip. The Jets 4.2 passing yards, 225, 168 in favor of the Buccaneers. Rushing 122-99 in favor of the Buccaneers. And then you go penalties. I mean, this was one of the most uglier games. I mean, there was I think almost 13 penalties in the first quarter. 13. There's 21 total. I've never seen so many holdings in my life. 14 for 124 for the Buccaneers, who are missing 3 starting offensive linemen, very undisciplined. But the Jets say, hold my beer, because we're going to be just as undisciplined. 7 for 81. Had some brutal ones. Michael Clemens, once again, a bonehead penalty. That's not going to be the word of the day like it was last week, but it might. Turnovers, crusher. Tyrod throws a pick 6 to really just secure the Buccaneers' momentum going into halftime. It was 13-6. He pick 6'd it with about 1 minute left. They also had a strip sack fumble. The Jets had an opportunity to jump on a fumble, and classic enough, they did not. They still have yet to have a turnover on the defensive side of the football. Time of possession, 32-11 for the Bucs, 27-49 for the Jets. Baker Mayfield, 19-29 and a touchdown. Tyrod, 26 of 36, 2 touchdowns, interception. Also the leading rusher with 48 yards. Bucky Irvin, 25 carries for 66. And Ibuka and Wilson were the stars in the wide receiving rooms. 84 yards with 10 catches and a touchdown for Garrett. 6 snags and 85 for Emeka Ibuka. Injuries here, you see Quentin Williams. Quentin Williams is now on the IR with the shoulder injury. I know the Jets just snapped some guy off the Patriots practice squad. So that's something definitely to watch. Unfortunately, a defense who's not performing and one of their better ones are injured on the IR, at least for 4 weeks, probably going into the bye. And now you're seeing my screen here. It's just the individual statistics. Breece Hall had a bad day, man. He had 1 carry for 17 yards. And then after that, do the math. His next 8 carries went for a whopping 4 yards, 2.3 averaged. The offensive line was not good in this game. They couldn't figure out the blitz in the passing game, and they also just couldn't open up any holes in the running game. Tyrod, like I said, was the leading rusher, 8 carries for 48. Braylon, 6 for 30. And Isaiah Davis didn't even get a sniff, which is, I mean, nothing was working. I don't know why you didn't at least give him a carry. Not really a game changer, though. Baker Mayfield, 4 carries for 14 yards. He had that huge 30-yard scramble in the last drive of the game where players ran into each other. Michael Clemens looked like a deer in the headlights, and the rest was history. And then you look at the receivers. The Jets simply just need a second receiver. My goodness. Tyler Johnson missed a catch that probably would have went for at least 25 to 30 yards. I still think Breece Hall isn't involved enough in the offense. Essentially, the passing game here, Mason Taylor, a couple catches, but like there's nothing that jumps off the charts. Lazard, almost drops one of the easiest passes. I mean, I know the guy ran across from him at the end, but like he was wide open. Tyrod got out of the pocket, made a nice running throw. He might have been able to run it into on that 4th and goal, decides to throw it to Lazard, and it still was almost not a catch. Like they had to review it. It took a while. It was ended up being a catch. This was the Buccaneers team who also lost Mike Evans, who's going to miss 2 to 4 weeks with a hamstring injury. He had 4 catches, 33 yards. He scored the first touchdown of the game. And Sterling Shepard also another just blown play. I believe it was McGregor who missed that tackle on that screen that went for big yards in the final drive. Just all bad here. The Jets defense stinks. Like it really does. It stinks. And I cannot believe that I had faith that this defense would be a top 5 unit. Like, I didn't think the Jets were going to win a ton of games this year. I don't think a lot of us did. But I thought this defense simply was going to keep them in a lot of games. You lose 34 to 32 and you lose 29 to 27. And it all kind of came down to the very end. Like the Jets in week 1 had like 20 seconds to try to get something. That didn't work. And then you're 1 minute left. When McDonald makes that just all-world play, right? You're so happy. Being there was insane. But you know who they're playing. They're playing Baker Mayfield. He's one of the best under pressure. He's one of the best in terms of winning drives at the end of the game. And you know the Jets defense was going to fold and couldn't get a stop. Like I thought the Jets defense kind of did some nice things in between, but like it was 23-6 that it didn't really matter. And the Jets couldn't really take any of the opportunities and turn them into points until the very end with 11 minutes left, as they obviously went on that crazy run. But despite the fact that this defense is undisciplined, they can't tackle, they can't get a turnover. It's just they can't get off the field on 3rd down. There was 3rd and 29 that turned into a 1st down with Sauce Gardner's pass interference. I thought that was a questionable call, but still, there was multiple 3rd and longs. Like Tampa Bay was basically starting 20 yards away from the 1st down marker because they were getting so many penalties. The beginning of the game, it almost seemed like you were getting punked with how many holding penalties there was happening on the Bucs side. And it's like, you're used to the Jets doing that. The Jets, again, ended up doing it at the end. But the fact that they couldn't get off the field on 3rd downs, and you can't tackle, like Michael Clemens missing that tackle, McGregor missing that tackle, the guys running into each other in that final drive. It just seemed like, you didn't even have to put them out there. Like you simply knew the Jets were losing this game because the defense has just been so bad. I don't know why. You have Steve Wilkes, the guy who brought a team to a Super Bowl, as the defensive coordinator. You have Aaron Glenn, who's a defensive head coach, really good. He turned around that Lions team. Nitpick all you want of how bad they were down the stretch last year. They were still competitive with practice squad guys left and right when they had the most injuries out of any team in the NFL last year. You were thinking those two minds going into a defense and combining their schemes would be a really good defense. It's a really bad one. It's almost to the point that like Wilkes could be on the hot seat of how bad it is. The Aaron Glenn firing is absolutely banana land, but you could actually put a you can make a real case here with Wilks that he could be a one and done guy. Like, this defense has too much individual talent. Of course, there's holes. It's not perfect. They're not deep in the linebacker room. They're not overly deep in the corner room. They're especially not deep in the edge room. Like, there are flaws. The safety room is skeptical as it's been the last couple of years, of course, but like, you have multiple all pros. You have Quinnen Williams, you have Quincy Williams, you have Sauce Gardner, you have Jamie and Sherwood, you have Harrison Phillips, McDonald, Johnson, even though Johnson didn't play, but you get the point. Like, they have good players, but the scheme stinks. They're undisciplined and they can't tackle. We've heard all training camp that this defense was working on their tackling, and they were hitting each other. It was like kind of out of the ordinary. You don't see that. Maybe early 2000s, but in 2025, you don't see all padded practices of players going head to head. The Jets did that, and it seems like it's just not working. It's frustrating. And again, the Jets were lucky to be in this game. It was Buccaneers dominated the first three quarters. Let's be honest. It was 23-6. It seemed like they were dead in the water. Even when Garrett Wilson scored, you're like, okay, at least you're making some type of effort. And then when Lazard scored, you go, okay, maybe this is interesting. It's 26-20 suddenly. But when you really clock out in three quarters and expect to come all the way back, it's hard. But the thing was, it came down to the defense to make a stop, and they weren't able to do it. 2 out of the 3 games, if they had one big stop or took the ball away, you might have won. And granted, they had to play a perfect fourth quarter in order to win this game, and they didn't, because the defense couldn't stop them with 1 minute left. Another thing is Aaron Glenn, right? In the presser, I get it. I don't understand why he was bringing up the same old Jets, and we're not the same old Jets. Like, listen, man, you're 0-3. Right now, the narrative is you are the same old Jets. There's no moral victories. You said it yourself week 1. You can't count this as a moral victory, because really, it isn't. Like, the Jets didn't show up for 3 quarters. And if they turn some of those drives into points early on, maybe you do win this game. But even you look at the box score, like, being at the game, like, the Buccaneers outclassed them for at least 40 minutes, 45 minutes at least. And the Jets were just able to, put together a couple big drives and have that insane play by Will McDonald. But my thing is, I don't get, you could shit on his presser. Like I said, the 0-3 start, it is the same old Jets. Win a game. Then you could say that. But why are we getting mad at him celebrating when Will McDonald makes that crazy play? What do you want him to do? Wasn't the narrative, am I crazy? Or wasn't the narrative of Robert Saleh that people got pissed off about was because he showed no emotion? He was a statue. He had his hands across from his body, and everyone wanted the San Francisco 49er Robert Saleh, who's jumping around, who's, chest bumping players and having fun. Didn't we want that? We complained about it every week that Robert Saleh was emotionless. We really did. So now when Aaron Glenn shows emotion, when the Jets just took the lead with 1 minute left in the game, in a game that you had zero right of winning, we're going to criticize about it? Like, I've seen people saying this is the most embarrassing moment of a Jet head coach. Are you kidding me? The most embarrassing moment? Adam Gase missed Thanksgiving with his family to you know where I'm going. He missed Thanksgiving so he could watch film on the 0-11 Bengals, and they lost. That's embarrassing. A guy cheering for his guy who just made one of the greatest plays that any Jet special teamers made ever, and I will say that with confidence. We're going to get mad that Aaron Glenn was showing emotion? Are you kidding me? What else is he supposed to do? The clapping at the end, that looked weird, but I just think it was like, all right, good game. But let's not criticize that he literally cheered for his guy. He ran down the field. Didn't Vrabel do that a couple weeks ago when they returned the punt to take a late game lead? And everybody loved it. Yes, you win the game as the Patriots, but in real time, you took the lead with 1 minute left, and you had a legitimate chance for the first time in the entire game, other than the very first couple drives, you had a chance to win the game. They didn't. But, like, it's in real time, man. What is he supposed to do? Sit there and be like, well, if we might lose still, so I'm just going to go like this. And we would have complained about that because Robert Saleh did that every freaking game for the last 3 years. So, like, what are we doing, people? Like, seriously. Like, that was the thing that just annoyed me, that after the game, we have a lot of reasonings to be mad as Jets fans. And there's a lot of things to get mad about. They've had shitty quarterback play for years. They can't turn the ball over on defense. Special teams has been inept the last couple years. There's a lot of things. We can't get a head coach that, could bring us to the playoffs. You have a 15-year drought. You haven't had a winning record in 10 years. There's so many things to be mad about as a Jets fan, but at this point, it seems like people are just trying to find other ways to be mad, and that's not one of them. Being mad at Aaron Glenn celebrating that McDonald play should not be one of them. Get mad at the same old Jet stuff. I didn't like that either. The clapping, whatever. Like, I think his presser sucked. I do. Like, I'm not an Aaron Glenn truther. Do I want him to be the guy? Yes. Do I believe in him still? Yes. It's been 3 games. But I just don't understand why people are even wasting energy of being mad at that. Like, what was he supposed to do? Seriously. And, like, I didn't think that was going to be the thing after the game. I thought it was really going to be like, you didn't show up for 3 quarters. Like, now it's annoying. Like, you could have won that game. You actually had a chance to win the game, and the defense can't, stop a nosebleed. That's what I got out of it. The defense sucks. The defense sucks. The offensive line was terrible. They just had no answer with the Todd Bowles blitzing. And look at it on the other side with Todd Bowles. We've seen that movie before. That's classic. His team being up, and then he's almost blowing the lead. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think as New York Jets fans, we have a lot to point at and be mad at about. We do. We know that. We've been suffering. But Aaron Glenn celebrating with his guy after a play that was unbelievable to take the lead late in the football game, that's not one of those things that you should be mad about. All the time we heard Robert Saleh was emotionless. He had his hands across his body. We didn't get the 49ers Saleh. We want the 49ers Saleh. Well, we just got the Aaron Glenn Detroit coach who shows emotion, and now we're getting mad about it. Be mad at the Jets being 0-3. Be mad at Aaron Glenn saying this isn't the same old Jets, even though they're 0-3. Be mad that our quarterback play is so inconsistent. It's painful, but don't be mad at that. I rest my case. But anyway, the Jets have the Dolphins week 4 against the Miami, excuse me. That's probably going to be another game that Jets fans show up. Jets fans showed up this weekend. I had a blast in Tampa Bay, met a lot of Jets fans, met my man Jake Asman. It was really cool. It was a great time. Obviously, usually the game is the worst and they lose and it sucked, but there was a lot of Jets fans there. There probably will be in Miami, and this is the game you have to win. You have no excuse. Okay, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Tampa Bay. That's a tough stretch, especially because you're playing really good coaches and experienced coaches. Mike Tomlin needs no introduction. McDermott has been one of the better coaches in the AFC the last 8 years. Todd Bowles, successor of Arians, has been, say what you want about him. They've won the division the last couple of years. They've been in the playoffs, I think 5 straight years. So, those teams have stability and continuity with their staff and the quarterbacks. The Jets do not. Miami, there's no excuse. You need to beat Miami. Like, I'm hopeless if they lose to Miami. I really am. And they're an underdog. Miami is definitely known of being a team that beats up on bad teams. And, the Jets are a bad team, but so are they. They played the Bills good last week, but, they lose to New England, give up 30-plus points. Their defense can't stop a nosebleed either. And they got smoked by Daniel Jones 33-8 week 1, even though Daniel Jones looks really, really good, despite the fact their defense also can't stop a nosebleed. I think it's 33, 30, and 28 points, or 31 points the Bills end up scoring. So they've let up 30 points every game too. Well, the Jets technically, I guess not, because it was 29, and, you can say 22 that was against the defense because the Dean's interception. But despite the fact both defense stink, both teams backs against the wall, and, one of those teams could maybe save their season here. And that's kind of how I look at it. It's the last game of September. This is a season-saving game here for both teams. So should be interesting. I will obviously be previewing it. If anything else comes out, I will be making videos, as I always will be making Jets Weekly content. Appreciate everybody watching the video. Please subscribe to the channel if you've not already. Trying to get to 400 followers. Love the sport. Appreciate everybody watching the videos. Like the video if you actually liked it. You could also follow me on social media platforms such as X and on Instagram. Until next time, see ya.